Hello to you all and welcome to Improvate's Agritech 2021 International Conference. I'm Lauren Izo. Improvate is a platform for creating long-lasting connections, enabling change makers in technology and decision makers in government to make progress through innovation. Improvate is all about finding solutions and sparking collaborations that improve the quality of life for people around the world. Today's broadcast will be dedicated to agriculture and water in arid regions. Israel is considered a world leader in the field of agritech, considering the fact that over 60% of its landmass is desert, and it possesses limited natural resources. Israel has developed the ability to assimilate advanced agricultural technologies based on research, also creating innovative solutions to maximize the use of water resources and growing agricultural crops in extreme desert conditions. Thus, it is equipped to meet vital needs in developing its agriculture. Here today in the studio is Professor Arnon Dug of the Gilat Research Center at the Volcani Institute. We will also hear today from Israel's Minister of Agriculture, Alon Shuster, Yesh Atid Chairman and Opposition Leader Yair Lapid, Knesset member and former Deputy Head of the Mossad, Ram Ben Barak, and Mr. Job Masima, the Ambassador of the United Republic of Tanzania, will be joining us a little later. Our distinguished guests from the UAE are Her Excellency Sheikha Hind Faisal Al Qasimi, businesswoman and philanthropist, Ayman Alawadi, Group Managing Director of the Corporate Group and Improvate's partner in Dubai, as well as Camille Abdullah, Senior Managing Director and Executive Board Advisor at Vita F&B Capital. We will also hear today from Kasonga Mukuta, Minister of Agriculture from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and His Excellency Dr. Deo Guide Rurema, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Environment of Burundi. They will be speaking with us about the challenges and the opportunities they face in the field of agriculture. Today we'll be hearing from leading Israeli agritech companies Netafim, Alga Health, WFI Group, Supplant, Nargene, GES, and Ramat Negev Desert Agro Research Center. And as always, watching along with us are representatives of investment funds from around the world who are looking to invest in Israeli innovation. I'd like to start with a message from Israel's Agriculture Minister, Alon Shuster.
אורחים מכובדים, נציגי האמירויות ומדינות אפריקה. אני מברך על ההזדמנות לקחת חלק בכנס זה, שמהווה אבן דרך בשיתוף הפעולה בין המדינות שלנו. חיבור מרגש שעוסק בייצור מזון ובדאגה משותפת לבני האדם באשר הם. אקלים מדברי ומשאבי טבע מוגבלים הביאו את מדינת ישראל לפיתוח יכולות טכנולוגיות חקלאיות מתקדמות, תוך שימוש במחקר וביצירת פתרונות חדשניים לניצול מיטבי של משאבי המים. כיום אני מאמין שניתן לומר בביטחון כי הטכנולוגיות החקלאיות שפותחו בישראל נמצאות בקדמת הפיתוח של העולם. סקטור החקלאות הישראלי מציע טכנולוגיות חדשניות שתוכננו לצורך הגברת היעילות והפריון, תוך קבלת תפוקה מקסימלית בכל תחומי החקלאות, בתנאי אקלים וקרקע מאתגרים. אלו יפגשו את התשוקה של אנשי איחוד האמירויות לביטחון מזון ואת השאיפה שלהם להביא את האמירויות לעצמאות בתחום ייצור המזון. שיתוף פעולה פורה יאפשר לנו לחלוק את החוויה שלנו עם שותפינו לאקלים המדברי ולמציאות של מדבור הולך וגדל ברחבי העולם, וכן ללמוד יחד ולשתף את הידע והניסיון שלנו למען חקלאות יעילה ומקיימת יותר שתבטיח ביטחון מזון גלובלי. מבחינה זו אין זמן טוב יותר מאשר היום לשיתוף פעולה משמעותי. אני מאמין בלב שלם כי שיתוף הפעולה בינינו יעמיק שורשיו גם בתחומים נוספים למען המאמץ הגלובלי מול משבר האקלים. לחיזוק יכולות ייצור המזון והפיכתו לזמין יותר ובריא יותר ובמחיר סביר יותר לכלל בני האדם עבור אוכלוסייה גדלה והולכת, תוך אחריות סביבתית למען הדורות הבאים. אני מאמין כי לנכדים שלנו יהיה על מה להודות לנו. בואו נייצר עבורם עולם טוב יותר וצודק יותר. בהצלחה.
Thank you so much for that. Now, let's speak with Kamil Abdullah, Managing Director at Vita F&B Capital. He joins us now from Dubai. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you. An honor.
So, can you please start by telling me about the investment fund you manage and the types of projects you are interested in investing in?
Thank you. First, I would like to highlight that national food security for UAE has been a long-term objective for many years. UAE has about 93% of its land, desert land, and used to import between 60 and 90% of its food. The food issues is so important that we have a minister for food security, for national food security. The government has changed its objectives over the last few years and has moved from defining national food security as availability and affordability, where the government used to import most of the food, to now focusing on self-sustainability, self-sufficiency, and to now focusing on local production. Hence, if we look at our objectives here, we're trying to invest in companies that bring technology so that we can use the harsh environment that we have, we can bypass it and produce food locally. The food has to be not only in good specifications, but also healthy food, and ultimately it has to be economically sustainable. And for us to do that, we need really technology. And that's what we invest in. We invest in technology companies that are operating in the food security universe.
So, as you mentioned, the UAE has made food security a major priority for the coming years. How will the UAE specifically reduce those food imports by 20% according to those goals you mentioned that were set by the government?
The government is working on three sides. One, which is very important, food consumption. Regretfully, the UAE and the GCC have a lot of food waste. Partly it's a cultural, and partly it used to be the abundance of having lots of food. So the food consumption will be one area, but the other two areas will be the food production inside the country. And that's an area where you're looking at different technologies of producing in our harsh climate. Probably in the discussion forward, we can discuss specific technologies, but mostly the technologies focus on two things. One, reducing water use. And I believe many of the companies presented today are world leaders in reducing water use through drip irrigation and other technologies. And two is building an environment where you can have high yield per hectare. And that's the second area where the government is focusing on. Thirdly, the government is trying to encourage local farmers by having specific programs to ensure that whatever they produce is sold and gets to the supermarkets in the shortest period of time, given the harsh climate that we have. So these are the three areas the government is working on, and we're supporting it, of course.
Okay, Mr. Abdallah, thank you so much for that. We'd really like you to stand by and watch our next presentation, and then we are going to return to you for a follow-up question. Okay, so moving on now. For over 50 years, Netafim has been a global leader in the advanced agriculture sector. Netafim provides innovative agriculture solutions to millions of farmers, focusing on maximizing yields while saving on water and resources. And joining us from Dubai today is Elad Levy, Vice President for the Middle East and Africa at Netafim. Elad has been leading Netafim's activities in the region over the past few years and recently relocated with his family to the UAE to lead Netafim's operation in the region and deepen Netafim's strategic relationships and activities in the UAE and the GCC. Thank you so much for being with us today. Elad, you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes. Sorry.
Okay, wonderful,
Sorry.
wonderful. Okay, Elad, so we're very excited to have you with us today, and we look forward to learning how Netafim is generating a positive impact on the agriculture sector around the world by growing more with less. Can you expand on that?
Yes, sure. First, thank you so much for welcoming me to so warmly to today's forum. I'm honored to be part of this distinguished panel and to share more about Netafim's unique offering and vision. Netafim, as you said, was founded over 50 years ago by farmers and for farmers. We began as part of an agriculture community in Kibbutz Hatzerim in the Negev Desert in Israel, actually trying to grow crops in the desert soil. So desert agriculture is our reality for more than 50 years. Farming in the Israeli desert was a struggle to survive due to the climate conditions and water scarcity and salinity. But exactly that struggle taught us to think differently. The founders of Netafim, whom some of them are still active in the company to this very day, had innovated the drip irrigation technology, which maximizes yield and quality while minimizing the water consumption. The paradigm of growing more with less, culture of excellence, continuous research and development, and even innovation enabled our farmers to transform from small holding farms, mainly for self-consumption, to medium and large-scale commercial business, which exports premium quality produce with a total export value of more than $1 billion annually. We are happy and privileged to transfer and share our knowledge and technology with our farmers and partners, no matter their size, their crop, soil type, topography, water quality, or climate conditions. Please allow me to provide some more context by sharing some key facts about Netafim. Netafim is one of the largest agri-tech companies in the world. Orbia, Netafim's majority shareholders, is a purpose-driven company to create solutions that positively impact people's life. Netafim's headquarters is in Tel Aviv, which from there we manage 33 subsidiaries and 17 manufacturing plants. With over 5,500 employees, we are active in over 110 countries and generate over $1 billion in sales a year. I've been mentioning drip irrigation and that Netafim has revolutionized drip irrigation, but what exactly is precision irrigation and drip irrigation? Precision irrigation delivers precise quantities of water and fertilizers directly to the roots of the plants. With precision irrigation, you irrigate and fertilize the plant, not the soil or the air, ensuring that each plant gets the water and nutrients exactly when needed. With digital farming, our new technology, we enable also automatic delivery of exact quantities of fertilizers and great monitoring over the farm. And all of this together enable the farmers to grow sustainably higher and better yields in a more sustainable and environmentally friendly manner.
Elad, I understand that you are joining us today from the United Arab Emirates. And as I mentioned previously, your family had to relocate to Dubai. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, indeed. Together with my family, I relocated to the UAE about a month ago. As a vice president and the head of Middle East and Africa, I decided together with the senior management of Netafim that we want to actively strengthen our footprint in the region. I personally took the initiative and took the opportunity to accelerate the rollout of our strategy and to boost our local representation. And we are currently in the process of building strong local team with profound knowledge and the necessary skill set to ensure that we can serve all the needs of our existing and future partners in a highly professional, timely, and competitive manner. I strongly believe and personally believe that the Middle East presents substantial opportunities for collaborations with a fundamental purpose to ensure a sustainable and sufficient supply of high-quality fresh food produced within the region. And Netafim is an expert in desert farming in the neighborhood, in the Middle East, and is willing to leverage this knowledge for the prosperity of the entire region and all of its people.
And Elad, what is your vision exactly for the region as a whole?
Well, although we are active in the region for more than 20 years, recent developments created the opportunities for sustainable and long-term relationships and partnerships. It is important to highlight that Netafim identified the Middle East as one of the company's strategic markets where we strongly intend to create a long-term impact. Together with our partners, we plan to build successful and sustainable open field and greenhouse projects and develop distribution channels which will help us to ultimately contributing to our regional food security. We aim at partnering with governments and private sector key players to develop local R&D capabilities tailor-made specifically to address the climate and water challenges of the region. And additionally, I would say we predominantly strive to support the effort to maximize water efficiency by increasing the usage of recycled water for agriculture. And I would like just to summarize that by saying that for more than 50 years, desert agriculture is our core business, not only in the Middle East, but in many geographies all over the world. And we have both the will and the way to turn this vision into reality.
All right, Elad Levy, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Dubai. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to go back to Kamal Abdallah to find out exactly what he thought of that presentation. Sir, thank you again for staying with us. I wonder, after you have familiarized yourself with the variety of Israeli technology like we just saw, have you seen any innovations or projects that you think could be useful for the purpose of food security?
Let me say that I'm quite familiar with the company that was just presented. I attend the annual Harvard program on food and agriculture. And this January, only a month back, there was a case study on them. Their technology is quite impressive, obviously. They lead in two separate areas that are very important, not only in the area of drip irrigation, which is their key focus, but now they integrated technology with that and they have automated crop management. And this is an area that's very important for UAE. Now, in addition, as he mentioned, if they're going to be on the ground and if they build the contacts and connections with the local universities and with the local companies, I believe that the region is thirsty, no pun intended, is thirsty for their technologies and for use. In the Middle East, people are about seeing you and smelling you and working with you face to face. So unless companies are on the ground, they really don't have a good opportunity or good chance of being successful. So again, in answering your question, they are a world leader, so they don't need our comments on their technology. The region is thirsty for their technologies, whether in automated crop management or whether in the direct drip irrigations, as well as their innovative structures that they have in financing local farmers and working with the local government on supporting food security. This is an exciting company, very exciting.
All right, Kamal Abdullah, thank you so much for your input today. We really appreciate it. All right, it's time now to say hello to Professor Arnon Dug of the Gilat Research Center at the Volcani Institute. Thank you so much again for joining us today.
Hello.
So the Gilat Research Center addresses issues facing Israeli farmers in the Negev, namely farming in arid conditions. Just how relevant is your experience when it comes to the conditions in the UAE?
I think it's very relevant. For example, the issue of water, as mentioned earlier. In Israel, we are using non-conventional sources of water, recycled water, brackish water, and desalinized water for irrigation. Each type of those water needs special care when you use them in agriculture. For example, if you are using recycled water, reclaimed wastewater, you can reduce dramatically the use of fertilizer. If you are using brackish water, it's depend on the tolerance of your crop to salinity. We need to select rootstock that will be resistant to salinity. So all those topics are very relevant also to the UA. I think we have a lot to share together.
Okay, wonderful. Professor Dug, please stay with us. We will come back to you shortly, I promise. All right, moving on now to another company. Alga Health is an Israeli biotech company pioneering the development of smart, cost-effective applications of microalgae. Eran Itzkovich is the CEO of the company. He is a veteran of the Israeli defense industry and has extensive experience in high-tech and innovation. Thank you for being with us today, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this morning.
So can you explain what life enhancement means?
Yes. Life enhancement means keeping your normal way of life, but giving additional value to it. In our case, through improving your health and nutrition with natural ingredients that we grow from microalgae. The advantage of microalgae is that it can be grown anywhere in cold climates, warm climates. It doesn't have to stand on specific terrain or ground. Now, today's life is very intense for us. We work more, we travel more, we stay awake more, and we use our time in front of screens a lot. And unfortunately, our nutrition and health hasn't met the same fast-paced evolution, and many people find there is a gap between their nutrition and health and their lifestyle. Now, for example, there's an OECD report from 2019 that says that 60% of the adult population is either overweight or obese, and it's become a major issue. Now, the most effective way is prevention, of course, but not many people can plan their nutrition and activity to meet this demand. And what we do is we provide these ingredients. Now, imagine there's an ingredient that you can infuse into your food that would not only keep you healthy, but would make you actively feel better. Let's say you'd have a Big Mac to improve your health.
Wow. Life-changing.
Exactly. So this is what we're doing, and this is what we're focused on. Our first product is called Nutrizantin. It's based on an active ingredient, on a carotenoid that's called fucoxanthin, which has been on the market for about 20 years. But we have decided to complement it with other ingredients and take it to the next level of the value chain and into a product that would actually enhance people's life in both form and function.
So aside from what you just mentioned, can you give us more specifics about what is so special about microalgae, and also where does Alga Health come into all this?
So this is really where nature and technology come together to create really amazing value. Microalgae is some of the most old creatures on the planet. They've been around for billions of years, and they've been used by humanity for centuries or even longer. But our needs and our way of consumption has changed considerably since the technological evolution, and we need to find new ways to get the good from nature and adapt it to our way of life. So, and today, fucoxanthin is produced from seaweed, which is very inefficient and consumes a lot of energy. It creates a lot of waste, and we're looking for we're working with microalgae to change these procedures. Microalgae has 20 to 30 times more fucoxanthin than seaweed, and with our R&D and development, it would even reach 100 times more, which means, of course, much more efficiency and much less environmental footprint. Now, we started our research and development 3 years ago, and it stands on 3 main pillars. The first is biotechnology. We're going very deep into the biotechnology, into the actual mechanisms of the cell itself. We're keeping the natural form, so it's not going to be GMO, but we will be able to improve significantly the amount of fucoxanthin that we can get from our microalgae. The second is very unconventional cultivation methods, that some of which are taken from other fields entirely, very new to the microalgae industry. And the third, which is very exciting, is AI-based production involving real-time sensing, involving machine learning. This is the first of its kind in the industry.
So it sounds like the research you're doing at Alga Health can perhaps expand past just obesity. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes, of course. What is very strong with our technology is that it's built on methodologies and procedures that go beyond this product, and it's very easy to leverage these methodologies to new products from the same microalgae, and even to be used in different microalgaes. One great example is another product that we have is called dermaxanthin. It's very similar to nutrisanthine. It's based on the same powerful carotenoid fucoxanthin, but it's more adapted to the cosmetics industry. It's been clinically tested and with very fine results, and we expect to launch this product later in 2021. Other than that, the world of microalgae is vast. Hundreds of microalgae species are being used today, and there are thousands more waiting just to be discovered. And we believe that taking these microalgae, we can bring even more new products to the market. Now, one of the problems with dealing with natural resources and microalgae is that it's very difficult to take it and make it into a unique asset that you can take to the market. We believe that the way to do that is by implementing knowledge and technology so you can take it to the next level of the value chain. And at Alga Health, part of the work we do is make sure that our products and ingredients are unique and bring real value to our customers and to our investors.
So your research is largely based on the obese and the overweight. Mm-hmm. Why is this such an issue to you?
Okay. Actually, we focus on obesity because we see it as a clear and present danger. It's very important to understand that the damages and the effects of obesity don't stand or don't remain only in the direct effects. You know, for example, obesity can shorten your life expectancy by as much as 4 years. Children who are obese are more prone to bullying, and there's a good chance that they will be underachievers in school and higher education, which of course affects their adult life as well. The economic damage from obesity and overweight as well is significant. In the OECD countries, the health expenditure related to obesity is over $300 billion a year, and that number is only growing. And we think that diverting even some of this cost to not only to prevention, but to making people's life better while maintaining their way of life will have significant effect personally and globally. And one personal note, I think we became all too aware during the pandemic of the vulnerability of the people who are overweight and obese. And not only thinking about the lives lost, but also about the people who survive the worst of it and carry on with the side effects and and everything that follows. And it gives us all at Alga Health more than enough motivation to be a part of the effort to overcome this problem and to contribute what we can so that the next time an event like this happens, we're better prepared and better protected.
A really important innovation. Aran, thank you so much for coming
today. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, moving now to Ayman Alawadi. He's an ambitious Emirati entrepreneur with a vision to bring the best products and services to the UAE and the region by extending his experience and know-how, thus attracting international firms of all sizes, enabling them to do business in the UAE and the region. He's a mentor and coach to UAE startups, helping them reach the commercialization phase. Alawadi is the managing director of the corporate group. It is a pleasure to have you with us, sir.
Thank you.
So in light of the recent normalization agreements, can you tell us about the opportunities for Israeli companies to expand operations within the UAE?
Yes, sure. Basically, there are so much of opportunities in the UAE is waiting to be tapped on. And I believe there are a couple of driving factors behind them, such as Dubai and the UAE is famous for year-round exhibitions and major events, in the region. So today, for example, this week, we just, going to conclude a major event called Gulf Food Week, which is the world's largest food and beverage trade exhibition taking place in Dubai. We have upcoming exhibition called Agra Middle East on 21 to 22 June of this year. And then we have WETEX and Dubai Solar Show 5th to 7th of October this year that takes place for the first time in Dubai Expo 2020 site. The last relevant exhibition that is very important for the Israeli companies to attend to is the Water Expo and Forum takes place on 17 to 19 January next year in Abu Dhabi. This is one aspect of it. The other driving aspect of it is because of the increasing amount of government initiatives that the UAE constantly bringing on the table to enrich the region and increase the high quality or the or the living standards of the citizens and the residents of UAE. Here, for example, we're talking about the UAE food security strategy, which was explained during the Gulf Food this week by Her Excellency Mariam Al-Meheri, Minister of State of Food and Security, Food and Water Security of UAE government. She was touching on the strategy details, which promotes facilitation of agriculture, trade, technology for technology-enabled food production, reduced food loss and waste, food safety and nutrition for the citizens, food risks and crisis management. There are also other government initiatives that is happening from the Abu Dhabi side, where we're talking about Ghadan 21 initiatives. Ghadan means in Arabic tomorrow 21. It is talking about 50 billion dirham over 3-year plan to accelerate the economic growth of Abu Dhabi, in which 1 billion dirham package is allocated to support the agriculture technology sector. And incentive consists of cash and non-cash benefits, which includes up to 75% rebate of R&D cost. The program focuses on 3 specific sectors in agriculture technology industry, such as precise farming and agriculture robotics and indoor farmings and bioenergy or biofuel. The last relevant strategy or an initiative that the government of UAE is placing as an opportunity for the Israeli companies and the world is the UAE Water Security Strategy 2036 that aims to ensure sustainable access to water during normal and emergency cases, in line with local regulations and standards of the World Health Organization. Overall objectives of this strategy are to reduce local total demand for water resources by 21%, increase water productivity index to $110 per cubic meter, reduce water scarcity index by 3 degrees, increase the reuse of treated water up to 95%, increase national water storage capacity up to 2 days. As you can see, these strategies and initiatives that is the UAE government is bringing on the table. It's basically going to be the fuel for all innovative solutions that are welcome to be brought into UAE.
And sir, what advice can you give to Israeli companies who'd like to maybe register or do business inside the UAE?
Yes. Recently, the UAE government has actually launched a full foreign ownership scheme in terms of owning companies in the mainland. So this is a significant boost and a significant enhancement into the UAE commercial law. There are 2 jurisdictions in UAE to choose from. We have the mainland and we have the free zone. Where the free zones are scattered in terms of business parks available throughout the UAE. We have more than 40 plus free zones within Dubai and the rest of the Emirates. When it comes to the licensing procedure, we can witness initial approvals of the governments, and then the external approvals depending on the type of product and the services being produced or to be delivered in the UAE, and also appointing the suitable commercial unit spaces or unit sizes to host such a business here. When it comes to post-licensing procedure, we help companies for bank account opening and residency and business owners visas and employees, along with health insurance and all the compliance works behind it, such as VAT, accountancy, and so forth. The TCG or the corporate group is actually a strategic partner of Dubai FDI and the UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs when it comes to foreign direct investment into the UAE, and proudly working closely with Improvate to enable the Israeli companies to come to UAE through our partners, Focus 360 Arabia.
Okay, Ayman Alawaji, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on now. WFI transforms water challenges into opportunities via fresh thinking, breakthrough technologies, profound know-how, and a dedicated, caring team of water experts, promoting the circular economy and creating financial and environmental value from water and shifting from savings to growth. Dana Hibner leads the business development for the WFI Group. She leads the business development, as I said, promoting the circular economy in strategic global partners. Dana will be speaking with us today about a novel approach to simplifying biological wastewater treatment and reusing in irrigation, driving huge water and cost savings. Dana, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for hosting me.
Of course. So what exactly does the WFI Group specialize in, and what is your company's vision?
WFI vision is to create value out of water and to enhance public health and sustainability. We shift wastewater from saving to growth by implementing our proprietary breakthrough technologies and circular economy approach. Our eco-responsible solutions help us to diminish water shortage and to save energy and costs while providing safe and clean water. Today, WFI have 4 business units. Each one is an expert in the water treatment arena, from selective inorganic pollutants removal to high recovery reverse osmosis technologies. Today, I would like to focus on Triple T and its biological wastewater treatment solutions.
Okay, so what are the specific needs of decentralized wastewater treatment in the UAE?
The United Emirates is known as one of the countries with the lowest fresh water per capita in the world. Currently, any unused water represents a major lost opportunity. In Israel, we use up to 90% of the wastewater for agricultural activities, comparing to only 20% in Bahrain. We at WFI have great solution to reuse the wastewater in a sustainable way. Currently, in the United Emirates, there is a decentralization planning policy in order to overcome this problem.
So how does your company help with agriculture, especially in extreme desert conditions, and how does it work?
So Triple T, first of all, is a business unit of WFI Group. Triple T provides affordable, forward-thinking, biological wastewater treatment and reuse solutions. Our main audience is municipalities, in most cases in very extreme weather conditions, such as deserts. Today, I will focus on our tire technology, which provides a very sustainable approach by using our bacteria and advanced oxygen in order to treat the wastewater. The tire provides simple operation by minimal equipment, minimal sludge, and minimal labor. By all of that, we generate cost and energy savings and water autonomy to our clients. The main application of the tire is good for rural villages looking for high-quality effluent requirement. The tire provides our clients with capital reduction of up to 40% and operational expenses reduction of up to 80%. I would like to present a movie demonstrating how our wastewater treatment plant works in such conditions.
Wonderful. Let's take a look.
המתקן הזה נותן בדיוק את מה שחיפשנו, הוא נותן לנו מים באיכות טובה, פתרון למי הקולחין של רמת יוחנן, כפר מכבי, שיהיו לנו מים לצורכי השקיה. כאן המים הם שלנו, כל המים הם שלנו. כשיש שנה שכונה, יש לנו תוספת של כמה מאות אלפי קובים. המתקן הזה נבחר מטעמים של איכות סביבה, ירוק, שקט, חוסך אנרגיה. אין פה משאבות גדולות, מפוחים גדולים. הכל נעשה על ידי החיידקים, בשקט מוחלט, בלי לכלוך ובוצה. עלויות שהאלטרנטיביות שהיו לנו לשלוח למט"ש חיפה הן מאוד גבוהות, וזה מה שחיפשנו.
All right, back to Dana here in the studio. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I was wondering, after watching that, if you can think of any relevant references for us.
So WFI prides itself for Triple T and its capabilities of taking a project from design through construction and operation and maintenance. One of my favorite projects is Mamon, located in the Negev Desert in the south of Israel. In this case, we provided up until today 1.4 million cubic meter for reuse applications. The small footprint of the facility and the operational expenses generated great savings for the client. In this case, the high-quality effluent enabled the client to erect a very green park in the middle of the desert.
Wow.
Another great example is Love Project, also located in the Arid area in the Negev. In this case, we maximized the water quality and reduced the pollutants and the cost, generating economic saving to the client of 80%.
So we've heard a lot of special things about the company, but I wonder if you can pinpoint what you think is the most special thing about this group.
So WFI is committed making a real difference. Coming from a dry country, we care deeply about investing in conserving water and maintaining a healthy environment. We bring innovation to everything we do. We promote technologies by circular economy approach, generating financial and economical value. Our main audience is communities and municipalities. Today, I would like to focus on the bodies we also collaborate with, which are local and global leading strategic partners in different locations in the world. We work with municipalities, communities, governments, and agricultures. And our main goal is to provide safe water to different locations of the world and to generate savings to different communities within the geographics.
Great.
Thank you.
Dana Ebner, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring the conversation back to Professor Doug. How are you doing over there?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, so what kind of cooperation already exists between the Volcani Institute and the United Arab Emirates?
The majority of the cooperation until now is between companies in the UAE. We are around 200 researchers in Volcani dealing with different innovation aspects of agriculture, and there are a lot of new ideas and new products getting out from our activity. So, for example, in Sunday, there has been scheduled a meeting with a company from the UAE named YAS, in which we present different projects that we have. For example, personally, I will present a project on developing new variety of guava with low intensity of odor, high health properties, and ability to ship them a long way. They have long shelf life. And together with me, 10 other researchers will present different other projects. So this is one way. Another direction is doing mutual conferences and meetings, and we plan in May to have a conference in which different scientists from different countries in the region, Jordan, Morocco, Egypt, will participate, and we already have several researchers from Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi that will participate. To tell you the truth, we are looking to strengthen the collaboration, the academic collaboration. We are looking forward to exchange students, to do research projects together. We think there is a lot to do in this direction, and we are more than open for the university and the academic institute to be in contact with us and start to work together.
All right, Professor Doug, once again, please stay with us.
Okay.
All right, moving on now to Yair Lapid, who is the chairman of the Yesh Atid party and the leader of the opposition. Let's hear what he had to say about the Israeli agri-tech industry and its contribution to the world.
My friends, the corona crisis has taught us all that we are connected for better or for worse. When the pandemic is finally over, we will be left with a global economic crisis. The solution to that crisis will be twofold: technology and cooperation. The countries that innovate, that upgrade, that look forward, that work together will surge ahead. Israel is one of those countries, and so is the UAE. It is in the DNA of our peoples to look forward, to be creative, to bring new ideas into the world, to find technological solutions to the challenges we face, to stretch out our hands in the spirit of cooperation. Israeli leaders have proven that by making peace with former enemies like Egypt and Jordan. The leaders of the UAE has proven it by leading the change in approach to Israel in this past year. This conference is part of a growing network of relations between Israel and the UAE, part of a strengthening of relations that includes both the public and private sector. The normalization of relations between Israel and the UAE offers us the chance to work together, to learn from another, to share experiences, to share knowledge. It is a relationship built on far more than common threats. It is built on common opportunities. Making the desert bloom is a source of pride to Israel. It is a symbol of our deep connection to the land and our ability to overcome obstacles. Israel and the UAE both know that the desert is a resource, not a burden. For both countries, it forms a part of our history and our heritage. For both countries, it's an important part to play in the future. Nothing will make us prosper as a nation than sharing our knowledge and experience with our friends in the UAE. Nothing will help us progress more than learning from them. We have so much to gain from this new relationship. That is why it gives me such a pleasure to wish all the participants of this conference the best of luck. Thank you.
And that was the leader of the opposition, Yair Lapid. Now moving to Her Excellency, Princess Hind Al-Qasimi. Princess Hind is a professor at the American University of Dubai, works with NOC selling oil, invests in tobacco, agriculture, iron, and gold. Princess Hind sits on the board of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us, Princess.
Thank you for having me.
Your Excellency, the UAE imports around 90% of its food supply. Just how critical is the development of the agri-tech sector for the United Arab Emirates?
Oh, they're heavily invested in it. Right now, we have a ministry just for the food security, led under Mr. Al-Mahiri, and things are moving forward very fast. We have many companies, both locally and internationally, looking to set up an office here and work on the local. We have last year, when the last recorded data, they had over 1 million tons of vegetables and approximately 800 tons of fruits. We can grow fruits, certain fruits and vegetables in the country, but not everything. But now we have, with technology, you can grow everything. Now we have many companies locally invested, and they are creating vertical farms, vertical indoor farms, and things are moving in the right direction. I think we began paying more attention to the agriculture industry when COVID hit us. I think everyone became very scared, and they wanted to do something about it. So every country, I think, began investing in harvesting and planting their own basic necessities and food supplies. And the Emirates is on the way to do that.
And as an investor yourself in the field of agriculture, what kind of opportunities do you see for Israeli agri-tech companies inside the UAE?
Well, currently we're working with some scientists and some companies because the weather between Israel and the Emirates is not that far. I mean, you have better weather, you have more rain, but you also have a desert. I mean, Israel is a long country. The top of it is cold, the bottom of it is the desert. So you, like the gentleman just now mentioned, how we look at the desert as a resource, not as a burden. And whenever it rains, the deserts turn into meadows. So I think by just investing water and time and proper technology with it, we can really turn things around and make it bloom.
Okay, Princess Hind Al-Qasemi, thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on now to Supplant, which is an Israeli ag-tech company that translates plants into actionable insights, assisting farmers around the world in making the best use of resources, increasing yields, and saving water in a reality of unpredictable climate.
As the climate changes and demand for healthy food skyrockets, agriculture is under pressure to do more with less. For thousands of years, farmers have fed humanity thanks to their learned and earned experience through good times and bad. But many farmers have wondered, if plants could talk, what would they say? When exactly would they ask to be irrigated, and how much? At Supplant, we make it possible for you to speak with your trees. Supplant is proud to present the ultimate irrigation recommendation system made by farmers for farmers. Supplant's system gathers data from sensors deployed on your plants and translated into actionable recommendations using artificial intelligence. Every farmer knows that water matters. With Supplant, you can optimize your irrigation and drive big results. Supplant has accumulated data covering thousands of growing seasons across every weather condition imaginable. So whatever condition your plantation faces, we have the knowledge needed to help you succeed.
Last summer we had the worst heat wave I can remember. Our grapefruit's trunks began to contract. Based on the insights of Supplant systems combined with some good advice from their experts, we started to irrigate with less stress. The trunks immediately started to grow back, and the fruits adapted to the extreme weather conditions. When the heat wave was over, our yields actually improved.
Last season I tried Supplant's system on one of my vineyards, while treating the other one with my old methods. The difference was clear. With the old methods, every cluster had a few decomposed grapes in it. With Supplant's system recommendations, the clusters were impeccable. Vineyards need to be irrigated with stress, but it has to be controlled. Supplant helped me do it properly.
At Supplant, we enable you to listen to your plants. What are they trying to tell you?
Ori Ben-Ner is the CEO of Supplant, a company that figured out how to speak with plants. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So what are the main challenges of growing food here in the 21st century?
Look, I have two children.
Okay.
One 2.5 years old and one 2-month-old. You get out of the hospital with a 2-month-old baby or a newborn and they tell you, feed them every 3 hours. Now, what if feeding them dependent on the weather? And what if the weather is unstable? Now, what we do at Supplant is basically what we're doing with our 2.5-year-old. We're asking him if he's hungry. The answer, obviously, is climate change. And climate change is a catastrophe phenomena that you can imagine from Hollywood movies, is already impacting daily farming practices. It's not climate change more than unstable weather. Now, 99% of agriculture decisions, specifically irrigation, rely on the weather itself. And a lot or most of the common practice today is getting lost. And the ability to rely on the weather in order to make actions is declining dramatically. 2-3 extreme heat days, or temperatures that can exceed 45 degrees in one can be the difference between a disastrous season and a normal season. Our notion is simple. If you irrigate, if you fertigate, if you make agriculture decisions based on the necessities of the plant, on the growth patterns, on the stress levels, on the health of the plant, then you are not dependent on externalities like the weather. We built an amazing technology that does exactly that. We translate the plants through sensors you saw in the movie that sits on the trunk, that sit on the fruit, that collect measurements every 10 minutes, and translate them into actions, daily actions, specifically or most prominently irrigation.
So other than what you mentioned, what are some of the other benefits of plant sensing?
First of all, they allow farmers to make decisions, like I said, that are based on the plant itself, which is what matters, the crop, the yield. And second of all, once you monitor the reaction or how the plant reacts to everything you're doing, your ability as a farmer to learn is endless. But I'll say it in another way. Not using plant sensing is like you trying to determine my current heartbeat rate, and instead of measuring it, you will try to guess it or assume it based on my age and gender. Four main dramatic benefits. The first one is quality. We are able to increase sugar levels in wine grapes, hence have better wine. Water savings. Why? Because our algorithm is based to increase quality and quantity. Why water savings? Because when you don't know how much to irrigate, most growers will over-irrigate, as the implications are much less harmful than under-irrigating. So we usually save 30 to 36, 37% water from day one. It's very important when you're irrigating in the desert, obviously. Third is what we call climate-smart irrigation. Preparing the plant preemptively to an extreme heat event can again be the difference between healthy growth and a disastrous season. Growing in 45 degrees and more, 3-4 days straight, is not something that is necessarily harmful. We can do things, and we are doing. Lastly, and most importantly, is yield increase. Our ability to increase yields from day one, 10, 20, 30% water, we see all across the board in 14 countries, 32 crops, is dramatic, and this is the best benefit, obviously.
Ori, can you give us some insights into the growth of your company?
Yeah, so I am very lucky to sit here as the CEO of a young company in the sweet spot of everybody's talking about 10x growth. Last year, in January, I put a goal of enhancing our install base 10 timefold. And they said I'm crazy. And then when we left it like that after COVID-19 started, they said I'm super crazy. Now, we finished it with 1,200% or 12x growth. And the obvious reasons are what I explained. The results we're showing, the fact that we're fanatic about customer support. No, really fanatic. It's written on our walls. The fact that we are farmers and we understand farmers, but I think, and this is maybe the bottom line, demand or the greatest generator of demand today is the understanding of the market or the understanding of farmers globally that you can't do farming in the 21st century with the reality of climate change without plant sensing, without speaking to plants. It's becoming too hard and it will become impossible. This is maybe the bottom line.
Very interesting. Ori Ben-Ner, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, last but not least, let's bring the conversation back to Professor Doug. So, Professor, in layman's terms, can you please tell us a little bit about how you're helping farmers deal with issues such as water quality and availability, as well as soil degradation?
Okay, as mentioned earlier, we have different type of water in Israel available for the farmer. It's like a living lab. Other countries that like to see how to work with different type of water can come and learn from us. So we are working with different type of sensing, soil sensing and remote sensing. and we provide the farmer or the extension people. Generally, we do not work directly with the farmer. The extension people guidance regarding how to work with them. We develop software in which the farmer can place the crop and the water salinity it have, and the amount of water he need to place, and then he can get decision which type of water is the best for him and how much water he will place. For example, if you grow date palm, it's relatively resistant to salinity, so you can go to water up to 5 decisiemens per meter. And if you grow tomato, for example, you need to work with much better type of water. Regarding soil quality and soil degradation, I think one of the interesting approach is to take waste, treat them, especially making them as a compost, and then bring them back to the field to increase the organic material content and to increase the nutrient availability. And it can do fantastic for soil in the desert if you'd like to increase the productivity of the soil and you bring back this treated waste. It's doing fantastic for the soil.
Okay, Professor Doug, thank you so much for staying with us this entire time. We really appreciate it, and come back again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, now joining us from Romania is Bogdan Bazga, the National Coordinator for the UN, FAO, and OCDE, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. She is a national expert on food security. Excuse me, he is a national expert on food security. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hello, thank you. Thank you. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you to invite me. Yes, it's one of the very interesting conferences. For example, we are very interested because it's not only a problem of Romania, it's a global problem. You know, the land degradation, irrigation, in fact, and water, mainly, it's one of the main components of the food security. Without water, we cannot have plants. We do not have plants, we do not have food. And everything, it's a circle. And I know very well the high technology of Israel, and my personal opinion, it's one of the best solutions in international high technology on irrigation, in plants, in development of the agriculture. And I see also with my eyes, 4 years ago, I participated in a conference dedicated for food security. And I saw many very interesting companies which provide high technology and mainly for the land degradation and for the improvement of production, agriculture production.
Sir, you've surely been watching some of the presentations that we've had throughout this Improvate conference. Have you seen any technologies that you're particularly interested in, or any Israeli technologies that could help with these issues?
Yes, there are a lot of these technologies which I see. It's obvious in Romania is not the same like in the Middle East or in Africa. We have small parts of land degradation. It's not only on this, because Romania is one of the greatest, could I say, producers in agriculture in the European Union, and we are, as far as I know, the percentage number 5 or 4 or 5 in the European Union as a producer on cereals, on fruits and vegetables. And many techniques, I saw many interesting high techs, and I have already 3 meetings. I participated to 3 meetings with the Israeli ambassador here in the Ministry of Agriculture, and also some companies which present their high technologies for the Romanian government. And we appreciate a lot. We have an excellent collaboration with Israel.
Wonderful. Mr. Bazga, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Romania.
Thank you.
And don't forget, Improvate is about making practical changes, exposing Israeli tech innovators to governments, investors, and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation and helping countries further their development. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step, followed up with delegations and real business connections. Okay, joining us now here in the studio is Mr. Job Masima, the ambassador of the United Republic of Tanzania. And all the way from Africa will be joining us today is His Excellency, Mr. Joseph Antoine Kasonga Mokuta, Minister of Agriculture from the Democratic Republic of Congo. His Excellency, Dr. Deo Guide Rurema, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Environment of Burundi. We will also be joined by Mrs. Hadija Jabiri, the founder and managing director of GBRI Business Solutions, Eat Fresh from Tanzania. Mr. Tom Salayo, General Manager of Feda Market Link Company, also from Tanzania, and Mr. Lazare Osende Asanga, Director of Partnerships, Promotion, and Rural Entrepreneurs at Gabon National Agricultural Development Agency in Gabon. Thank you all for being with us today. We will get back to each one and every one of you shortly. Now, joining us is a member of Knesset, Ram Ben Barak, a former member of the Israeli Security Forces and an Israeli politician, as well as the chairman of the Israeli Knesset's agricultural lobby. He has served as deputy director of the Mossad and director general of the Ministry of Intelligence Services and the Ministry of Strategic Affairs. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So as I've mentioned, you've served in the Knesset and in the Mossad, which has taken a lead role in advancing ties with Arab nations over the years, only coming to light recently with the Abraham Accords agreement. What is your take on this development, and can we expect to see perhaps more agreements with more Arab nations?
First of all, if there is something good left from Trump legacy, is the peace agreement or the normalization agreement that happened between us and the other country, Morocco, and the Gulf country. I think it's extremely important. I think we are sharing the same interest, also against Iran, of course, but not only this. We can have a lot of economic project and agriculture project, and it's always good to have a good relation and normalization with country than the other things. So I'm very happy about that. It's true that we have connection for a long time, but right now it's on the table. We are sitting with them, we are making business with them, we are speaking security with them, and I'm very happy for this result of Trump and the state of Israel that done in the area.
Sir, how do you see agriculture, water, and other technologies as a lever for Israel to advance its geopolitical interests? And how crucial were these technologies to the signing of those Abraham Accords?
Look, I think that agriculture and feeding the people, I use this word, feeding the people, because right now there is enough food in the world and we can export and import and everyone can do to buy here and to buy there. But if you are looking to the future and you see that the population in the world will be double in 35 years from now, you understand that if you will not make a plan today that you can feed all the people, we will be foodless in 20, 25 years from now. And that's why we have to keep the land for agriculture. We need to support the agriculture, the farmer, to support them to stay on earth, to stay work in agriculture. We need the state need to support it. We need to develop all the time a new technology, how to produce more for 1 acre than we are doing today. We need to develop the using of water from the sea, water from the houses, to use all the water, because the future is. It seems that we need it in the future, and I think that right now this is not the situation. Many countries prefer to import things instead of grow them in their land. I tell this country, don't take care, because there could be a day that there will be not enough food in the world, and you will have to take care to yourself. So develop your agriculture. By the way, one of the good things that happen in this peace program is that there is a lot of potential in the Gulf state that Israel can help them to grow, to do a modern agriculture in the state, and I think it's extremely important.
Ram, you were born on Moshav Nahalal, perhaps the very symbol of Israeli agriculture. You were the chairman of the agricultural lobby in the Knesset. How do you see the importance of agriculture on the national strategic level?
First of all, it's true. I was born here. My father born here. My grandfather is established. This is the first moshav in Israel, the first village in Israel. And until today, I work in the farm during to all the other jobs that I made in the future. Israel, it's very unique state. You know, very quickly, in one day, you can close all the port and all the airport because we have Hezbollah in the north and Hamas in the south, and every day there can be a war here. So in Israel, it's extremely important to take care for the agriculture that we know how to do it here in Israel. State need to give fresh vegetable, meat, eggs, milk for the citizen. Unfortunately, the government of Netanyahu is not take care of the farmer. We can do better. They can do better. We need to do better. I'm very hope that in the next election we win, and I want to be the Minister of Agriculture. And I believe that we can do the change, and we can be very modern agriculture, that the farmer is lead the country and lead the technology of agriculture from here to all the world.
Well, there's just 1 month to go until that election. Ram Ben Barak, thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, turning the conversation now to Ambassador Massima. I'd like to officially welcome you to the studio today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So one of the problems faced by Africa in scaling up agriculture is access to technologies. How can forums such as Improvate connect technologies to where they are needed in developing countries?
Oh, in the first of way, basically to advance and accelerate our agro-business, I will talk of two. One is to increase the production of within our dairy farming, our agricultural farming, and equally on fisheries. This is a problem of production. As we stand now, in many countries in Africa, including my country, you could find that the raw production, let's say of milk, you get something like 5 liters per cow per day. This you can't compare with the 40 liters which you are getting here in Israel and other countries. If you go, let's say, to cotton harvest, basically we get something around 250 to 300 kilograms in an acre. This is very low if you could compare with the 900, which is 900 kilograms per acre, which is the record in the world record. Apart from that, you can go to things like sugarcane. Sugarcane is grown in my country. The maximum we can reach is 30 tons per hectare. This is too low if you could compare with the 65 tons per hectare. And this doesn't include the sugar syrup, which in the end is much lower and much less than which you get here in Israel. And also even the sugar concentrate. So these are the things which we are looking for. Now, why is the production that low? You can go even to fisheries. Fisheries in my country or other countries, let's say a tilapia fish of 6 months, In my country or other countries, it weighs around 350 grams compared to 600 here in Israel. But now, why is it the problem? For me, it's just one. One is that we do have improper selection of seeds. That is a serious problem in Africa. Two, we have an improper use of pesticide and fertilizers, which here in Israel, you're very good on that. But four, above this, is the uncontrolled post-harvest loss. It's very loss. We could find that around 30 to 40% of our harvest, they do disappear somewhere between harvest and storage. So this is the problem number one, which we think that the companies here in Israel will increase our production. But in addition to that, we're having a problem of selling raw materials. Africa for now, 60% of the African export is on raw material. So we are major exporters of raw material and the major importers of finished goods and services, which is very bad. For instance, before the corona pandemic, the export in Africa as a whole stood at around 417 billion per year. That was export, and mainly on fuel and agricultural products. These are raw. But the imports could come to around 534 billion per year. So you could find that the scale is tilting a bit. Now you could ask me why. The reason is simple. As far as I'm concerned, it's the industrial backwardness and the technological backwardness. We need to process our things. For instance, go to Africa now. With the current situation of the corona, 30,000, we accommodate around 30,000 medicinal herbs and recipes, which are used by the West to modify in their labs. But come to what we are doing in Africa, we do have around 665 pharmaceutical companies. Go to, I don't know here in Israel, but go to England, you're having something around 2,800. Go to China, they're having around 7,000. Go to India, they're having around 11,000 pharmaceuticals. So we can't do this one. What we need to do now in Africa, which is very, very important, and this is what I'm looking for here, is to help us to manage, not only to grow, but we need to process, we need to sell finished goods. We need to extract our materials. We need to extract our minerals, everything up to the end, so that we'll be selling at the end product, not selling the raw material. This, I think, what is important for the companies here in Israel.
Interesting. Ambassador Massima, please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We will come back to you. Okay, our next company, NRGene, is a software company that uses artificial intelligence to analyze genomic big data, optimizing and accelerating the natural breeding of plants and animals used for agriculture. NRGene develops and commercializes cutting-edge AI-based genomic tools that are reshaping agriculture and livestock around the world. By applying its cloud-based software solutions, NRGene provides leading international agriculture, seed, and food companies with computational tools to optimize and accelerate their breeding programs, significantly increasing crop yield and saving time and money. Take a look.
Population growth and climate change pose great challenges to food production around the world. Fortunately, integrating genomics into breeding processes is a great way to provide more food with the same limited resources. But doing so successfully requires the right tools. Introducing NRGene's computational platform, where all your genomic needs are answered in one easy-to-use, centralized place.
Guy Cole is one of NRGene's founders and currently serves as the VP of Strategic Accounts. Guy's day-to-day focus is mainly on managing NRGene's long-term strategic projects, while continuing to shape NRGene's future solutions and alliances. Hello, Guy. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So can you briefly explain what breeding is in general, and how do you accelerate it, and why are you doing that?
Well, breeding is the intentional use of crossing to improve a specific trait or combination of traits in specific animals or plants. Let's take drought resistance, for example. You want to improve drought resistance, so you take a group of plants, you measure their drought resistance, and you cross the ones that are best drought resistant, and you look at the offsprings. And you do it again. You take the most drought resistant, you cross them, and But that's a long and kind of tedious process, but at the end, you get a very, very drought-resistant group. What are we really doing here? We're actually selecting the best genetics for drought resisting. So what Energene does is helps you predict what will be those genetic components that need to gather together for drought resistance without doing all this long and tedious process, allowing our customers to get higher yield for what they're doing, get to market faster, and actually have the whole thing streamlined.
So who are your natural partners and how do they benefit from working with Energene?
So we have many different partners, but I'll mention some. Many of them are product companies that are using a specific plant or animal for their final product. That could be coffee companies, that could be aquaculture, that could be wood companies, and of course the other group is a group that sells seeds to farmers. So they want to improve those seeds to have the farmers pay them better. How do they improve it? They go through exactly that same breeding process I just described. And they have this R&D unit, which costs them a lot of money to do that. So Energene is actually selling its AI components into those R&D groups to make all this process a lot quicker and a lot more cost-effective.
And can you give me an example of a project that solves some of these climate challenges?
Certainly. We're working with Bridgestone, the large global tire company, to actually help them find an alternative source for natural rubber. Natural rubber is used in many of their big tires to actually hold them and make them better. They need a source for natural rubber that is always there, and natural rubber is currently coming from the rubber tree, which is growing in tropical areas and mainly in Southeast Asia, and so is exposed to diseases and some geopolitical problems. Bridgestone is worried about their supply chain. And they are trying to get a new source of natural rubber, mainly from a shrub called guayuli growing in the desert of Arizona. They want to have that in a major growth in those desert areas and get this production into their pipeline. But for that, they need to improve yield. They need to improve the speed of growing for the plants. And Energene is exactly doing that part of the R&D work to get them to a plant that is faster growing, higher yielding, and we can actually be that source of natural rubber for them going forward.
And what's next for you guys? What can we expect from Energene in the next few years?
Okay, so I think the future is bright for Energene. Energene has just gone through a very successful IPO in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, and we're growing our teams both locally and in North America. We're looking for partners who will actually allow us to get into high-value, very exciting projects. Energene is actually trying to do two things now. We are getting into something called CRISPR, which is we're leading an Israeli consortium that is trying to use CRISPR, which is a Nobel Prize-winning technology, to speed even faster the whole process of genetic improvements. And then we're looking for partners to share the final product with. So Energene can be part of exciting things like a gluten-free wheat or alternative protein production, or things that are very fastly growing in a desert or low water conditions. All those, if they're successful, are very high value project, both commercially and of course as we heard here, for humanity as a whole.
So an extremely versatile technology.
Yes.
Guy Cole, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're now moving to His Excellency, Sorry, excuse me for 1 second. Okay, it's time to move on to our next interview, Mr. Mahunina Kitswaka, Chief of Office in the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you hear me, sir?
Bonjour.
Hello.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much to you give me to speak to you.
Sir, there is a huge demand for aquaculture and fisheries all over the world. What do you require to scale up the industry in the DRC?
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
As
you say that my Republic of Okaka is a country that
beaucoup d'eau,
has a lot of water,
grande quantité d'eau,
large quantities of
des
water,
rivières, des
rivers,
zones marécageuses.
and
En ce qui nous concerne, je vois,
what concerns me
par rapport à l'aquaculture, par exemple,
is referring
nous
to,
avons
for
besoin de
example,
technologies, par
we
exemple,
need the technologies.
comment dire,
How do
aquaculture
that
en cage, mais
qui
également
vont
aquaculture en bac.
that will
Donc,
enable
nous pouvons développer avec ces deux techniques-là, par
with
exemple, nous
the
pouvons
two
bien développer
techniques to
l'aquaculture dans notre pays.
develop
Mais
it.
cela nous demande effectivement
We
des
are
études de
asking
faisabilité
that
pour bien identifier des zones où nous pouvons,
they will
par exemple,
create
implanter des
zones
cages.
or regions where we can plant.
And, sir, what kind of technologies are you
What
looking
kind
for
of,
to improve
technology
fisheries
are you
capacity?
utilisez?
Puis des bacs pour également
And at the same time, it's disconnected all the time.
s'agissant de la pêche également, nous avons
We have also
des eaux, comme je l'ai dit.
also the vegetables.
All right, unfortunately, it seems like we're having some technical difficulties, so we will try to return to you very soon. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Let's move on now to Rahul Kale, the CEO of SunPower Renewables in Dubai. He joins us. It is great to have you with us to discuss the issue of powering agritech with renewables, portable lithium, solar generators. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Sure. So there's a big shift toward vertical farming, especially in urban areas, hoping to develop self-sustaining communities. How does energy storage play a role in this?
Yeah, look, I think self-sustaining communities, I think that's the way to go in the near future. Urban farming, vertical farming, they play a huge role in making self-sustaining communities a reality. Studies have shown that vertical farming typically uses about 95% less water than and a lot less land than traditional farming. Even in terms of the agricultural yield per acre, vertical farming studies have shown that they produce about 10 times extra yield than traditional farming. So I think in the near future, we're seeing a big shift of farming moving towards the urban areas and looking at vertical farming, LED farming, urban farming as becoming a key concept, especially as we move towards circular economies as well. One of the biggest hindrance or constraints in vertical urban farming has been the use of electricity. Traditional farming uses the sun, but in terms of vertical farming, majority of the source of energy is from electricity. And where electricity is still expensive, or in certain areas where power backup is used through fossil fuel energy like diesel energy, that becomes economically it doesn't become viable if you're going to use those traditional sources of energy. So solar, I think, has a very, very important role to play over here. When we talk about replacing fossil fuel with solar energy, vertical farming, LED farming can use the power of the sun again. It becomes a lot cheaper and viable for farmers to grow and farm in urban areas. With solar storage, particularly now becoming commercially viable, you can actually have vertical farming or urban farming for 24/7 throughout the day. So not just during the daytime when sunlight is available, but even during the evenings and night times and early morning when sun is not available, you can use the battery backups or battery storage to keep producing electricity, to keep producing lights and energy for LED and urban farming. So I think with the advent of solar and solar storage, we'll see a huge uptake in vertical greenery going forward, or vertical farming going forward. And I think especially in areas like in the UAE, in Africa, and the whole belt, where there's a lot of arid land and water, the scarcity is increasing. I think it's going to become play a huge role going forward.
Solar power also has many applications in smart agriculture, from precision irrigation to pest management, diagnostics, robotics, and so on. How will your products assist in increasing the adoption of renewables in smart agriculture?
So when you talk about smart agriculture, new technology tends to be always energy intensive. New applications, robotics, new solutions, applications, they're all very energy heavy. What we've done with our products is we've integrated all the different components of a solar power plant, along with the lithium-ion battery storage, into a single compact plug-and-play device, which is fully portable. Now that adds a completely different dimension of generating or having energy independence while for your farming or smart agriculture needs. I'll give you an example. The United Nations World Food Programme, they are setting up an innovations park in Kenya as we speak. Now, they're coming up with an innovative technology of creating hydroponics and growing them in self-sustaining containers. Now, our products are actually powering those containers, so they become energy independent, self-sustaining, and they're mobile, so you can actually carry them and take them anywhere you go. So that again adds a very different dimension and value to smart agriculture, urban farming, and I think our products can add a lot of value to this industry going forward.
All right, Rahul Kale, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
GES is a veteran Israeli company specializing in standard and custom-made projects in the water and the wastewater treatment sector. In its 31 years of activity, GES has successfully completed more than 300 projects in Israel and abroad. Ud Shani, Vice President of International Marketing and Sales at GES, is going to join us right now. He has over 15 years of experience in the field of wastewater and water treatment in the international markets. Before we get to him, let's watch a short clip. Okay, let's welcome Ud to the studio. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sure. So can you start by providing containerized plug-and-play systems for complex projects, as well as what we were just hearing in that video?
Yes, the idea in GS, first of all, GS is, as I was mentioning in the movie, is 31 years old. It's not a startup. We are very known in the market. We know how the company to operate plant. We are operating more than 200 plant in Israel. So we have a lot of experience in operation and in design and build. What we found out, if we need to supply a containerized system or a solution far away in Africa or in countries which is very hard to go over, so we send the container as a compact, running, we call it plug and play capsula. Everything is re-prepared in Israel, in our warehouse, checked in our warehouse. What you need to make in the field is only a platform. Here, I'm going to say something new, that the new model going to be with a solar panel, which is be standalone solution. Even if you don't need to bring energy, maybe you need to have any helping of energy, like a generator or something like this. But this solution allowed us to spread it all over the world.
So do you actually have experience doing projects in distant countries other than in Israel?
Yes, we are working with companies like Siemens. We're doing large projects in electric companies or refineries, and we are doing our water solution, wastewater and treating water in the electric companies. You need to reach to a very high quality of clean water inside the turbine or inside this cooling tower. So we are able to provide this solution. We are doing it on skid. Again, we are making the system in Israel, we are checking the system in Israel, and we are sending the system in skid. What we need to do is plug to put it inside. The design, I don't want to be involved in the design, neither in Africa or neither in countries which we can't go. Unfortunately, now we are better in more countries, but in the past it was more difficult to go to these countries. So we can do it either from the other solution like this.
And can you provide after-sales support and remote supervision of your systems in general?
Yes. I think one of the advantages, let's say, not a secret, of this company like GS, that we're operating a lot of plant. We know how to operate. And for example, we are operating a plant in Israel of 16,000 cubic per day, one person, because everything is HMI system. He can see his telephone, he can see the plant, not by video, by operating the plant, by closing valve, opening valve, closing, and to put limits of alarms, that if something has happened, automatically the alarm is going off and making any announcement to him to be involved. If we supply this kind of compact unit or another solution far away, I will put this system on this container, so I will be able to control the system from Israel, to give like supervision to the plant. You have to have someone there to clean, to see that everything is running, or if you have any difficulty in the system. But to control the system or to see if there is any problem, I can see it from far away.
All right, wonderful. Arid Shani, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers as well. And remember, Improvate is about making practical changes, exposing Israeli tech innovators to governments, investors, and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation and helping countries further their development. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step, followed up with delegations and real business connections. All right, let's move now to Zabron Bwaga, the managing director of Beula Seed Company and Consultancy Limited from Tanzania. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
So smallholders in Africa often lack access to high-quality seeds required for healthy harvests and improved crop yields. What is required to make sure rural smallholders have access to these high-quality seeds?
Actually, what we need is just it require to demonstrate high quality seeds to farmers in large scale, and also so that a farmer can realize the potential of using quality seeds. And also what is needed in Africa is to support a small and medium seed company who can produce and supply large volumes of seed to farmer. Again, it is needed to improve distribution system in rural area, like using farmers groups, using mobile vans or trucks to move to make sure that the seeds are very closer to farmer and is accessible to farmer.
Problems we are facing, one is of the access to the market. You could find that in the world, the African market is for raw material. It's not for finished goods. But even for raw materials, I'm taking a clear example of China. China, the import of China on agro business, on agro products, is around 110 billion per year. That is in China, Chinese market. But out of this 110 billion a year, African share is only 2.5%, which is 2.7 billion. It's very low. And of which is only 23 countries which are managing for that. So 23 countries are getting the 2.5 billion or the 2.5%, which is 2.7 billion. So we need an access to the market. That is one should help us. That's why I'm saying that what should the world do to Africa? But two, let's go to the price in the world market. It's not favorable to Africa. I told you earlier on that majority or major part of the product we are selling in the world market are in raw material. So the price is very, very low. For instance, the other time I talked about it, in Tanzania or in other countries, you need 20 tons of tea or coffee or other products just to get a single tractor. Can you imagine? And I told you earlier on that the production of cotton in Tanzania is around 250 kilograms to 300 kilograms per acre. So talking of getting 20 tons, you're talking a harvest of around 66 acres, which is huge. That we can't afford that one. We need now that as we're talking, the price, we should control it. Not only that, the other time we also talked about the cocoa beans. 70% of the cocoa beans is grown in West Africa. But out of 130 billion chocolate market in the world, Africa gets 2% of it. This is very unfair. So we need also to do something. That's why I'm saying that access to the market is very important, and also the price for it is very, very important for us. That's it for the world. Now coming to us is Africa. I think we can do two, which I think we need to look at this very, very seriously. First, our youth are not yet rejuvenated to venture on agro-business. We need to have a campaign or do something so that the youth could be involved much on agro-business rather than leaving it to a certain generation. That I think we need to look at it. And the two, as I'm looking here on the presentation, the biggest problem we're having, we are not yet fully utilizing irrigation in our countries. And even the irrigation we apply is just the flooding one, not the drip irrigation or the precise, which in the Tafin we are talking about. So we lose a lot of pesticide, we lose a lot of fertilizers by fertilizing the land which is not used. We don't have a problem of water, that might be the case, but we need the pesticide and the fertilizers to the plant, not to the whole farm. So this one, I think you need to do it in Africa. This is our part. So for the world to control the market and give us access to market and also raise the price to the world market. In our case, we'll look on the irrigation and also we'll find a way of rejuvenating our youth so that they can venture much on agro-business. I think this is what we can do.
Okay, Ambassador Massimo, once again, please don't go anywhere. Okay. Stay with us. Let's move now to Mr. Rolexin Adamas Gangori. He's the Director General of Gabon National Agricultural Development Agency. Thank you for joining us today.
Bonjour, merci d'être venu avec nous.
So Gabon is heavily dependent on
Gabon
food imports.
Est dépendante de l'importation de nourriture.
Yes.
Oui.
All right. Yes. So Gabon recently announced.
Gabon a annoncé récemment.
Mm-hmm.
Le Gabon a récemment annoncé.
Exactement, le Gabon a annoncé la réduction de ses importations.
The reduction of prices in the economy of our that was 10%, and then this is the product of the agriculture. These are obliged to have to competition with the import of 55 million alimentary products. This it passes. We have the utilization of the technique of a new generation, not only to develop the actual systems, but others as well.
Sir, one of the challenges you face in Gabon is that you are highly urbanized with a dispersed rural population and a farming sector dominated by smallholder farms. What are your policies and strategies to develop the rural economy and improve value chains for farmers?
Quels sont le système pour développer les petits agriculteurs of the managing of the, we will give new sectors and to secure for the small producers which are in our country. Besides that, we have 5 million hectares to be used for the agriculture zones. We need partnerships and to put strategies in place for better quality. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gangori, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Okay, moving now to Mr. Lazare Osende Asanga. He's the Director of Partnerships, Promotion, and Rural Entrepreneurs at Gabon National Agricultural Development Agency. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, it looks like, unfortunately, we had a technical difficulty and we lost that guest. Let's bring the conversation back to Ambassador Massima. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
So what is your message to Israeli companies about doing business in Africa?
Okay, the message is simple, that please come to Africa. Why should you come to Africa? My answers are simple. First, once you come to Africa, you are coming to a vast land of around 30.7 million square kilometers. So that's what you're coming. Yeah. Once you are talking of Africa, you're not talking of 22,000 of Israel. Of you're talking of 30.7 million.
Different ball game.
Different ball game altogether. And if you come to comparison, Africa is 3 times bigger than China. Africa is 3 times bigger than US, which is 9.8. China is 9.6 million square kilometers. Africa is bigger than Europe, which is 10.2. So Africa, generally, talking of Africa, it means that you take Europe, all of China, all of US, combined together. That's when you get Africa. So this is the place which you should look for it rather than looking at other places. But also in Africa, 30% of the Arab land, of the world Arab land, is in Africa. Africa, with this Arab land, we are capable of feeding around 9 billion people. Mind you, the world population is 7.7. So we are feeding 9 billion, which means we do have a surplus of 1.2 to other creatures, possibly to other planets, if they can afford to come to take it to Africa. This is Africa. Why can't you come and invest in Africa? Africa is endowed with minerals and the natural reserves, a lot of them. You name it, whether it's diamond, forestry. The list is so long to exhaust it here. That is Africa, which I'm saying that Israel, you should consider on going to it. Africa, as the Congolese, the DRR speaker talked about, we do have a rich fish coastline of 30,500 kilometers. Apart from that, we are having water bodies, including around 17 rivers, big rivers, more than 600 lakes. When we're talking of lakes, it's not like the Sea of Galilee. No. For us, the Sea of Galilee is a wetland. It's not a land. Apart from other wetlands, vast wetlands, and also underground water. 4% of it is only used up to now. So you have got 96% of unused water, fresh water, ideal for farming and other activities. Come to Africa. Africa has got a youth population. As of now, 60% of our population are under the age of 60. 60%. And it is said that by 2050, our population of the youth will be around 2.5 billion. So here there is labor. Here there is manpower, which will come for it in Africa. Africa, if you would come to, you can't compare with the previous times, but we are now more stable politically. The economy is rosy, growing. Last time it was growing before the corona, around 4.1%. That was the average economic growth for African countries. So you could come for that. Out of the 10 fastest growing countries in the world, 5 are from Africa, including my country, Tanzania, out of those 5. So this is the place which you can venture on to come and to see for that. Africa has a coordinated regional economic blockings or groups. We have got the East African Committee, we have got the South African Committee, the West Africa. They are all coordinated, which means they can facilitate you for the movement of your goods, movement of services, and the movement of people. Once you are in one country, let's say in Tanzania, you go to Tanzania, you already access a market of 460 million people who are member of the regional groupings of the South African Development Corporation, SADC, and the East African Community. This is the place which I think you need to think going to Africa. Needless to say, Africa is the future global powerhouse. Come to Africa. That is my message.
All right, well, I'm planning my next trip to Africa.
Please do attend. Come to Tanzania.
All right,
before
definitely.
Going to the country. Yes,
Ambassador
please.
Masima, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move now to Mr. Lazare Osende Esanga, who is the Director of Partnerships, Promotion, and Rural Entrepreneurs at Gabon National Agricultural Development Agency. We were having some technical difficulties before, but let's try again. So what kind of partnerships does Gabon need to scale up the intensification of agricultural production?
Merci, Madame. Je pense que le Gabon actuellement nécessite
Today, Gabon
partenariat public et privé.
is to improve its public agriculture and it needs partnerships which will be private and public as well.
Les bails amphithéotiques
And
le contrat de coproduction.
we need like a contract of crop production.
Ce genre de partenariat nous permet
This kind of partnerships will allow us to give a value to higher our value of our potential agricultural potential and be able to have a cooperation between the investors and ourselves.
Sir, can Israel, with its own experience of collective farming, help Gabon transform its rural sector with training and bringing together farmers into market-oriented collectives?
Les agriculteurs qui sont dans un marché qui est avancé dans l'agriculture.
Nous connaissons que
We think that the model of exploitation, the communal exploitation, is on the basis that has a lot of power for us. We have in our hands to enlarge the production by this model of communal grouping of agriculturers in our country. One actor, for example, can be under a cooperation of a group of agriculturers, and we need these models for this in order to implement new systems.
Okay, Dr. Osende Esanga, thank you for being with us today.
Merci, monsieur, d'être avec nous aujourd'hui.
Merci beaucoup, madame.
Thank you, madam.
Let's move now to the Ramat Negev Desert Agro Research Center, which is an agricultural research and development center specializing in agriculture under desert conditions for over 60 years. In the Ramat HaNegev Regional Council, let's take a look. And here with us today is Eran Doron, the head of the Ramat HaNegev Regional Council, and Dr. Yuval Kay, vegetable researcher and the director of innovation at Ramat HaNegev R&D. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. So, Eran, what are the biggest challenges in the field of agriculture in Israel and around the world that you address personally?
What we address in Ramat HaNegev, but we look on all over the globe, is eventually in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, the population will grow. And people, we don't know how the future will look, but we know for sure one thing. This is something that is guaranteed. People will need to eat. What you can do? And food security, food production will be the challenging, one of the most challenging field all over the globe. And the desert area all over the globe, which are expanding, will be probably the one with the biggest challenge all over. And what we do in Ramat HaNegev and what we succeeded over 60 years is to accomplish in desert condition production and a fertile desert. We return the desert into a fertile area that eventually will be able to feed thousands, millions of people all over the world. And this is exactly what we are doing. And I think it's possible.
And tell me a little bit how you're using innovation in your activities.
Innovation is part of our DNA. It's part of our narrative because when in Israel, when we started to habitat the Negev, people didn't know what to do. But if you look 2,000 years ago, you saw the Nabatean and the Byzantine did quite a very impressive agriculture. So we understood that if we will be able to control some of the condition, we will be able to produce, to create all kind of agriculture. And the first thing is water. Water is the basic thing for everything, right? And once was to produce water. And we discovered the ability of brackish water that are adjusted to vegetable, to fruits, and to other things. Second is to control the climate, because we are talking about desert with a variety of temperature and things and few other things. So in order to control the climate, you need to do to interfere. And those are the basic things. In addition, of course, with people like Yuval and other researchers, we started to investigate what are the advantages and what is our added value that we can provide in the desert. And today, when you bring, after 6 decades of know-how of how to cultivate the land, now we brought the new level of innovation of technology. And the synergy between technology and agriculture opened so many horizons of development, like using of nanotechnology and using all kind of sensors and monitor for understanding what the status of the land. And you can do it with remote sensing in one way, and on the other end, you can you can increase the production of cow in the desert to be the best production in Israel. And as we know, the best dairy in Israel are the best one in the world. So it means that the best dairies are in Ramat HaNegev.
Great. Well, we'll get to Yuval in just a second, but I wanted to ask you about the recently established innovation center that you created. Please tell us a little bit about it.
So, as I said, we wanted to do a synergy between the know-how of the farming, what we call the classical farming, which is not classical, but for us it's already became some kind of a classical farming, to the level of the level of innovation of technology. And we, together with the Arieli Capital, we established this frontier. It's kind of an incubator to invite startups from all over the country and from the world to merge into our knowledge and to establish new methods, new ways of succeeding, either to produce more, because we know that one of the problems all over the world is that the land of the fertile land is shrinking. We know it. So if you can produce more for per dunam, it will be a great success. And of course, to make sure that the quality of the production will be good, and to create things that are in a variety of fields like medicine. Today, there is a lot of things that you can do that will be very implementable to the medicine field. So this is part of the thing that we're thinking about. Things that are connected to optics, remote optics, cameras, all kind of things which sounds maybe science fiction, but it's happening, and it's a big thing. I think it's a big message to the world and for the desert specifically. And we see that the entrance for many countries all over the world, especially the countries that has desert, that suddenly this deserted area become a resource and not something that we don't need to.
Interesting. Yuval, you discovered a surprising connection between desert agriculture and aquaculture. What is that connection?
Okay, so aquaculture is why you ask yourself why desert is good for aquaculture. It is because the aquaculture is suffering from a lot of disease, and the climate that the desert hold is preventing a lot of the disease. And if we can get the water by technology and put the aquaculture in the desert, we can produce much more and in less damage, less yield decrease by disease.
Very interesting. Eran Doron and Dr. Yuval Kay, thank you so much for joining me in studio today.
Thank you very much.
Let's move now to Dr. Christophe Asanzi on behalf of Joseph Antoine, the Director of the Cabinet of the Ministry of Agriculture from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Yes, so I can go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead.
I said thank you.
I wonder if you could describe for us some of the challenges that you're facing in terms of agriculture.
Yeah, as you said, we have many challenges, but I can just mention a few of them. I would say funding shortage is one of them. We have also lack of improved technologies. We have shortages of agricultural inputs such as seed, fertilizer, and even pesticide. There is also lack of, the producers are not well organized. So here, the cooperative, we have just some few groups of farmers, but they are not very well organized. We have also challenges in transforming the product. So we have just raw product. So there are not many plans to transform the agricultural product. And as I said, also the research is not well organized.
Sir, how can small-scale farmers take advantage of the increasing opportunities for entrepreneurial development to lift themselves out of poverty?
Yeah, that will be welcome if there are entrepreneurs who can assist them. As I said, the finance, the lack of finance is the big issue. If they can get credit to buy the inputs or even to gain access to market, because they can also grow some agricultural product, but they have no access, and there is also a problem of infrastructure, the transportation. So if there are entrepreneurs who can provide them with those services, I think that can help them to reduce poverty. Hello?
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Okay, you are welcome.
And we apologize for all the technical difficulties we had today, but that's it from Improvate's International Agritech Conference. We've heard today from officials and businessmen in Israel, the UAE, and Africa, and the Israeli agritech companies who presented their technologies today: Netafim, Alga Health, WFI Group, Supplant, Enargene, GES, and Ramat Negev Desert Agro Research Center. Improvate is all about access and connections, exposing Israeli tech leaders to governments and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step. The next step, delegations and real-world business connections. We want to thank you all for taking part and hope this is just the start of doing business together, making technology accessible to all and improving the lives of people across the world. Keep an eye out for Improvate's next conference on renewable energy. That is on March 9th. I'm Lauren Izzo. Thank you for watching.